I don't want to talk you into working hard every day. That's not going to happen. And being Embry-Riddle, being a very high academic university, you've got to take care of your schoolwork. No one can do it for you, right? You got to take care of yourself. You're away from home. Nobody can do it for you. And
Right.
that's what we're looking for. And if you say you're in, it means you're in.
Welcome back to the Significant Coaching Podcast, where we dive into the mindset, the methods, and the stories of the coaches shaping athletes both on and off the field. I'm your host, Matt Rogers. You just heard a small taste of my conversation with Joslynn Gallop, head volleyball coach at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. And trust me, the full discussion is every bit as direct, passionate, and fun as that clip. Coach Gallop is a straight shooter who thrives on making the game fun, competitive, and intense. She's the kind of coach who embraces a little trash talk when it fuels competition and builds team chemistry. As a former Division I standout at San Jose State, she knows exactly what the best of the best looks like, and she challenges her players to reach that level. Always with love, but never shying away from a little tough love when it's what they need. In our conversation, you'll also hear why Embry-Riddle is much more than just a university for pilots and engineers. While it's world-renowned for its aerospace programs, it offers a full range of majors and specialties from business to cybersecurity to human factor psychology, all while competing at a high level in athletics in one of the toughest conferences in the country, the Sunshine State Conference. This is a conversation about building a culture where winning and joy can coexist, where athletes learn to compete fiercely while loving every minute of being together on and off the court. And if you're listening today and want to learn more about me, my books, or how I support athletes and families through the recruiting process, head over to coachmattrogers.com. Feel free to schedule a strategy session or just leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Now, let's get into my full conversation, part 1, with Coach Joslynn Gallop. All right, Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University.
Yes.
What do people need to know that they probably don't understand about those 4 words?
First and foremost, we are the best flight and engineering school. Without taking away that, we are much more than that. Okay. When I was looking for a job, I had no idea myself what Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University was. But it's a special place. It's a family place. And it's somewhere that you can thrive academically, athletically, and enjoy Daytona Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to major in business or English or history, I can do that at Embry-Riddle.
You can. We have a few areas of education that we do not have, and there is no way that it's going to work out here. But we do have so much more than just what's known or what you see online.
Yeah.
And what's great is that our professors and our, our committed faculty and staff really put it together and make it work. For example, someone wanted to be a veterinarian. We have a doctorate program. It's not veterinarian school, but you got to do that later anyways.
Right.
So get your medical piece done here. And you're still going to be dissecting sharks and rats, which gets you the veterinarian side. Yeah. And it's a place that, the faculty and staff can put things together and help get you wherever you want to go.
So it's not Goose and Maverick walking around in flight suits. It's
you have that though.
You have that, but
we're so much more.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And I love that you didn't know much about it when you got there. You've been there 20 years. You've had a great career. What's changed in your heart? Because you've stayed and you've just in one of the, if not the toughest D2 volleyball conferences in the country. It's right there. It's probably number 2 if it's not number 1. What's kept you there? What makes you excited to go to work every day?
Really, it's the people. And I found this out 20 years ago. Our former AD, he's still our basketball coach. He's been here 35, 36 I don't want to age him that well, but he's been here for a long time. Our soccer coach, the same. It's a place where people come and really love it. It goes from not only our coaching staff, but our administration, and then you go to the academic side. We have professors that have been here for many of years. Our secretary just retired at 46 years. Like it's a
Right.
family place, and it is like you just said, it's not work. Like I come to work and I'm like, sweet, I get to see my work friends who
Right.
are, some of them are out of the office friends and some are not, and we are supported here, and it's just a place that you can have it all.
Yeah. That's the part I miss about being a head college coach. I was a head college coach and athletic director for 15 years. I miss the relationships. I miss being able to walk across the hall to you and say, Joss, I'm struggling with this kid. I need some advice. That is the best part of being a coach for me.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the growth of these young student athletes. It's not just coaching volleyball, it's coaching life and growing and learning with them, still being here for 20 years, still learning and thriving and loving, every day.
What's one thing if a high school coach came into your practices, they might see as unique or unconventional about how you run a practice?
Well, I've got a few sayings, okay, and I stick by those very well. And I just used it at camp with a bunch of 14-year-olds, but it worked. It's you get what you tolerate. And from a coach's eye, we're a very disciplined team. We're a very systematic team. And that doesn't come with, extreme consequences. It's just high standard. And so I don't say we overcoach, but we coach very detailed. We take our time and let these young ladies learn why. Not just how to do it, but why do we do it? In the match, when we only have 2 timeouts, they need to know why and figure it out, and that's a lot of what we're doing is we're problem solving and we're not tolerating a lot of extra. Just keep it simple,
Yeah. Well, give me an example of what that may look like in practice.
At practice, like it's just footwork patterns, right? We have ways that we do that. And if we do them efficiently, we can last for a really long time. If we do them inefficiently and waste a bunch of energy, we're going to be gassed when it comes to set 5. Yeah. And so our warm up is very detailed with footwork patterns without the ball, and then if you can do it without the ball, you do it with the ball, and then you do it live. And so there's lots of breakdown. There's lots of pieces that we, that habitual steps, those habitual movements we need to learn.
I was a basketball coach, so I could take my guards to one side and I could take my posts, my forwards to the other side. We could work on individual things. That's got to be a little bit harder on a volleyball court. So when you're talking footwork, is everybody working on their drop steps and their pivots and their framing? Is everybody working on their hitting the ball? How do you work all that footwork in? Because every position's got different footwork. They do,
and they all have a, kind of a warm up based on their position. And then we collectively come together at the end. But really, we're very fortunate. We have 4 courts here in our gym.
That's awesome.
So we're spread out. Like we've got this huge facility. Main court is usually designated for the setters and their training. And then we've got a court for some hitters, and liberos are over here doing things. And so we're able to spread out, and it's not micromanaged as far as they just know, like, here's what you're going to do to warm up.
Right.
Get it done. And we get to float around and talk to people and see how it's going. Help out or, answer questions. But really it goes to this, this trust. And I'm going to talk about that word a whole bunch because it matters a huge deal in coaching and leading. But we trust that they're doing it to their best ability, and they do. And because we don't tolerate the other stuff.
I love that. What role does your staff play in all that? Because when you have 4 courts and you're doing breakdowns, talk about trust. You can't be in every spot. You can't be hearing every little thing and coaching every little thing. So walk me through how you kind of develop your staff, how you use your staff in practice.
Yeah. And I'm glad you asked that because I feel like I've got one of the best in the country as far as staff goes. My assistant coach played professional volleyball, played beach volleyball and the EVP just as a gym rat. Like he just wants to train volleyball. Right. And so by the end of warm-ups, he's like drenched in sweat. Right. But we talk about it, as far as like putting a practice plan together. We each have a plan going in. I don't need to know everything that he's going to do with his group because, again, the trust. We've got a couple student managers that may not do a bunch of the coaching part, but they're at least there to put balls in, Yeah. But they're super valuable in what they do for us and just really the energy they bring because they're unfortunately not playing the game. They're just around the game,
Right.
and they just love being a part of what we're doing.
Right. I love that. I I I never had a program where I had a big staff or had a lot of managers. If I had 2 assistants in the gym with me, it was a luxury. So you have 3 or 4 people, 5 people that can help expedite everything you're trying to do, get you through your drills faster, get more reps. Yeah, that's such an advantage every day.
And we look to our older, our kind of, the upperclassmen as well. If there's middles on a court and we've got a senior and a freshman and a sophomore, like let's lead that, or they get to talk about it together too. So it's a lot of team interaction, a lot of ownership with what they're doing. I think that helps keep the trust very high is they're not being looked at and, it's just doing the right thing because it's what we do. And so they get to help each other out as well.
Where does leadership start for you in developing that culture, that ownership with your kids? How do you get that freshman to become that senior who's leading or that junior that is leading with confidence, say, this is how we do this. This is, we don't cut corners here. This is how we go about this. How do you create that?
I think it definitely starts in the recruiting process. It starts in the conversations about what do you really want? What's your dream look like when it comes to college volleyball? Because I was a kid and you write a letter in ninth grade to yourself and you hide it, right? And it's like, I'm going to play here and I'm going to do this. And those are the conversations we're having during recruiting. It's like, what's your dream? And being able to do that then gives us an advantage, I think, or maybe a head start in the relationship building process. Because it's all relationships. And again, it'll all come down to trust, right?
Yeah.
But if a freshman kind of knows because of the recruiting process, it's easy for them to jump on board,
Right.
And it's easy for them to go, I already know about this. Like coach already talked to me about this, or my teammates have already talked about this because we talked all summer leading up until when they get here. But it's that relationship that really, I want to know you and I want to know what you want. Because if you tell me you want to be the best, let's get there. But you got to act on it too. You can't just tell me you want to be the best, right?
Right.
Yeah, we all hear that. Like actions speak louder than words, but it's a good relationship process.
I imagine it's huge on the other side too, where the recruit's going, I want that. I want somebody to give me ownership. I want to be a leader. I want to be a part of that where I can grow into that. I would imagine for a recruit, that's got to be really exciting. And it may weed out some of the kids that maybe wouldn't be good fits for you. Yes?
For sure. And I think that's what we're trying to do in recruiting, right? Is like, are we going to fit together?
Right.
I don't know what I am in other people's eyes, but I'm a little bit crazy because it's all like happening, right? And we got to put it all together and super organized. But, if you can buy into my crazy and I'll help you get to where you want to go. It's like,
Yeah.
we're all into it. And some people love it and some people don't. And that's what you're saying. That's where you're either going to love it and get into this or I'm not right for you. And that's part of it, right? Like that's okay.
Right.
When recruits say no, it's heartbreaking, but it's still okay.
Yeah. I don't think parents and kids understand how personal this is to us when we were kids. There's a reason we're coming after you. We really like you.
Right.
We want to be around you for the next 4 years. And when you tell us no, it's like asking somebody out on a date. They say, no, I'm gonna date this person instead.
Right.
It's hard on us. So I love that. And And I don't think it can be talked about enough for kids to understand this isn't volleyball. This isn't just education. This is your second family. This is the world you're going to grow up in, and you want to be with the right people, right?
Right. Yeah.
I love it.
And it's definitely like we're going to have great days and we're going to have really hard days, and you're going to cry and I'm going to cry, and then we're going to hug, and then we're going to keep growing together. Cause like I said, this is never ending learning,
That's right. It's funny. I teach kids how to get recruited, and I teach them how to communicate with coaches. And I say, at the end of the day, really all we're doing is you're saying, Coach, I'm interested in you. I'd like to know if you'd be interested in me. And for me, there's no better way to start a conversation with a coach that you're interested in, because that's really what it's going to be. I'm interested in you. Here's why. You've got my majors. I like the location. I've researched your program. You sound like the type of coach I'd like to play for. Now I'd like to know if you'd be interested in me. So it sounds like you kind of take that approach as well. The simplicity of that, right?
Yeah, definitely. Cause I don't want to talk you into working hard every day. Like that's not going to happen. Yeah. It's like, come on, are you into this? And being Embry-Riddle, being a very high academic university, you've got to take care of your schoolwork.
Right.
No one can do it for you. Right. You got to take care of yourself. You're away from home. Nobody can do it for you, and that's what we're looking for. And if you say you're in, it means you're in. You're not in and out and on this bubble, like it's in or out.
Yeah. I don't feel like you and I have had this conversation. We've talked about this a little bit. I don't feel like you've had retention issues over the last 20 years, have you?
Not so much. We don't lose a lot of kids because of transferring. Some people don't make it here.
Yeah.
Not because of a lack of resources or a lack of trying. It's just not the right place. But no, not a ton. I mean, in my 20 years, if I had to sit down and write a list, I bet you it's on my 2 hands.
Yeah. Which is unheard of these days.
Which I'm proud of, because
yes, you should. Yeah.
It's a great place, and you can really thrive here.
Let's talk about that. Every coach says the culture matters. What's something that you actually do to protect your culture when a player or a situation threatens it, or you're worried about it doesn't feel like it's supposed to feel? Is there stuff that you do to kind of protect that culture?
That's a tough question, because it's very open-ended, but I do believe that we protect ourselves with the right people, and we have the hard conversations. That's my job as the adult and as the person here. If it's not working out, I have to be the one who steps up and approaches that tough conversation, right? Because that's what we're doing. We're trying to teach these young athletes how to do that in life. And it's not easy. It's not easy to have those tough conversations. But really it goes back to recruiting. And I'll say this, it's like getting to know families and getting to know what people want, and holding them to an expectation and a standard, because that's all people want. Like is too much freedom is kind of scary, right? Too much structure and too much micromanagement is super just intimidating and scary. And finding that balance, finding the balance of, what you sign up for is out there. It's very well communicated. It's very black and white. And that's how we try to do things here.
It's so important, because we have to push. It's most kids, and I'm going to put my hand here at my eyes, most kids think that this is their level of potential. And as a coach, and I'm going to put my hand above my head now, it's our job to kind of get them further than they thought they could.
Right.
So for you, when it comes to challenging your players, how do you go about that, kind of getting them past that comfort zone and understanding they've got more in them than they thought?
It's good to have a background in doing it. That's always helpful, being a successful student athlete myself. But also just being prepared as the leader, being prepared as a staff, as the leadership. If we're ready to go in and battle, then they're going to be ready to go in and battle, right? They're trusting us, we're trusting them, and they see like, okay, coaches have it, it's very hard thing to do. And I thought about this conversation and whatnot. It's like, we don't get to have bad days. Even if we're having a bad day, we have to go give ourselves and have this giving mentality, this servant leadership, no matter what we're going through.
Right.
And that's where I think it strengthens. We could allow for a bad day, or we can go, you know what, we got something to do together. And it's always about us doing it together, our team, and that really keeps my head kind of level in my life, with kids and work and da. It's like, how do we stay prepared? We've got to stay level and know that we're all in this together.
I miss that as much as I miss the conversations with other coaches. I miss that we're building something that's bigger than ourselves. And there's so many days where we might have 14, 15 practices, 3-4 games in a row. We're traveling and we don't realize how much we're growing together and how much we're learning about each other and accepting each other. For you, are there things that you try and do throughout the year when you've had a hard stretch, or there's been midterms and you feel like the girls are wearing down? Are there things that you do to kind of say, I'm watching you, I see you, we need a breather today?
Right. And that's where we have to be really strategic and very good at our job, is allowing for recovery, allowing for fun too. I think if you asked our team what was the fun part of last year when we traveled to, where did we go? We went to Lee, Tennessee last year. It wasn't the volleyball. We went thrifting. And I didn't know what that was. And I'm where am I going? And we all dressed up and we had a great time. Like, it was like, let's go do something else besides, it's not all just volleyball in school, right? But that was our, like, okay, we made it here after an 11-hour drive because we sat in 2-hour traffic. We got some dinner. We don't play tomorrow until the afternoon. Like, let's get up and do something. Like, let's get up and have some fun. So we went to the thrift store, and you've seen it on TikTok or whatever, where everybody picks out the outfit for so-and-so and whatever. Oh, it was so much fun. And that's the stuff that really helps you grow together, is remembering that we're all just human and we like to have fun and laugh and, get out of the serious mode all the time.
Yeah. My 12-year-old son, one of the moms did a birthday party, and she took him to a thrift store. They each had to do that. They had to buy each other clothes. It was so funny what 12-year-olds picked out for each other. It's just correct. Yeah. One of the boys picked out a jersey. My son is the smallest 12-year-old you're ever going to meet. And somebody picked out this basketball jersey for him that was like a men's extra large. I mean, it was like a oversized dress on him. So it was great. Again, I'm gonna make your brain work a little bit. When you look back and some of those, there's a couple of decisions that I had to make were really, really hard that are always in my brain. Whether that's cutting a player or making a decision about assistant coach. Talk about a time in your career where you had to make that hard decision and you weren't quite sure what to do with it, but it turned out being absolutely what you and your team needed.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Frustrated with modern shows that push values you don't agree with? Sick of scrolling through content that's just not family friendly? Hi, I'm Jennifer, and every Wednesday I share one family-friendly recommendation in around 10 minutes. Each episode offers a thoughtful deep dive into the story, values, and streaming info, so you don't just know what to watch, but why it's worth watching. No explicit language, no inappropriate chatter, and maybe most important, I'm doing this as a parent, not a critic or an influencer. So follow the show on Apple Podcasts or your favorite platform and start enjoying family time around the TV again.
It's interesting because there's so many stories that are hard, right? This job is hard and this lifestyle is hard. And that's where I'm super grateful for the longevity of our coaching staff, because I can go to our men's soccer coach, who's been here for 35 years and has probably seen everything under the sun,
Right.
or a basketball coach or a baseball, whatever. But really it's one of those things, and I hate to say this out loud, and I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but I had a student athlete who was an only child, and I'm not judging only children, but she was so hard for me as a human. And
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
my assistant coach, she's a great player, and we want to give some opportunities. So he gets her, she's committed. I don't have the relationship as deep as, because he took the lead on the one, right? She was so hard. Her and I just didn't have anything in common. We didn't have work ethic in common. We didn't have anything in common. And I went to a senior coach, and he said, "You know what? You can't save everybody." And I looked at things completely different, because I can want something for you. You can tell me what you want, but you have to really act on it, right?
Right.
And instead of doing the chop, like the chopping block, right? It was, we're going to try this one more time. And it's going to happen to be my way, or we're done. But without saying it like that, right? With me versus you, it was the program and the big picture, seeing the big picture in what we're trying to do here. Again, it goes back to the why, not just how, but why. And I've been to her wedding. I have been to her baby shower, and we see each other. She comes to our games. Like, it's become a great relationship. But if I would have been like cut and dry, I would have lost that opportunity to really be in a guiding relationship and a friendship, and just somebody for this young lady who is now a mom and, successful career woman. But that's what I take, I think, at this time in my career, is how can we impact, right? And we can't save everybody, but we can give it that one more try.
Yes.
We can't save every situation, but we can try a little bit better next time,
Yeah. And some kids, they just need you to get there where you're like, okay, I've tried to do this 100 ways. Now we're going to here's your reality. Here, folks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because you never want to give up on somebody. But when I was mentored of, you can't save everybody.
Right.
If it was at all on the defensive side by this young woman, or the excuse making, or, super defensive going, that's not me, I don't know if it would have worked. So we both had to kind of open our eyes to where we're trying to go.
Yeah.
And that I think the relationship part of this whole interaction, this whole business, this whole opportunity is the tough stuff.
Yeah. And it's so powerful too, because as a 19-year-old, 20-year-old, 18-year-old, whatever it may be, to hear someone who's responsible for your future, who has a lot of control over whether you play volleyball again or whether you play volleyball here, to almost hear that person say directly, I can't save everybody. I'm to the point where I'm not sure I can save you. I want to have a relationship with you.
Right.
But here's where we're at. And I'm not sure if there's a more powerful message for a teenager learning how to be an adult to hear.
Mm-hmm.
This can end tomorrow. We can walk away and you can go your way and we'll go ours. I don't want that to happen, but this is where we're at.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah. And I think, aren't we all doing this for life after, right? Life after sport, because when she's 30 or whatever and having a tough time at her job, her career, and she's faced with these tough things, that's all we're trying to do is prepare, and to give them a little bit of something.
Yeah.
They take with them. So
yeah, when they get married, they get their first job, they have their first boss that doesn't fit them well. They're not hearing for the first time, you've got to figure this out or you're going to go slow, or we're not going to be together anymore. Right.
yeah. Yeah.
That's the role that I love playing as a coach. And it's the hard role. I don't know. I don't think you can get into this job without wanting that, even how hard it is. You have to say, I want these kids to be better. I want them to leave here as capable, competent adults. And if I don't have some of these conversations with them, if I don't have high expectations for them, I'm failing them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I love that about you, Coach. I every season I have a college president on. And I love talking to college presidents about the big picture. Some of them have, athletics is such a small part of their brain, and some of them, athletics is the centerpiece because they know what athletics can do for them. The president I had on was the president of Juniata College. He's also the chair of the D3 NCAA committee for presidents. So he had a great perspective. And one of the things he said, he goes, every time we hire a coach, I have a marker board in my office, and I go, write on the board what your program's going to be known for. Write on the board what your legacy, or, when we talk to people about your program, what are we telling them? I'm going to throw that at you because I thought that was so great. I mean, and give me that look like you have to think about it, but you've been doing this for half an hour already, telling me what your program's so for. But when you think about, this is kind of the one or two things that really make our program special, because you have a special program. You've done so well. You've had such a great career. What are those things you're like, this is why we win. This is why our kids leave here prepared.
Yeah, I think in that legacy, we've had a passing of one of our coaches recently, and just thinking about what's his legacy. And it's always just your legacy here, just for volleyball, for me, is just being a servant leader, being someone that's just grateful for this opportunity. And how can I help you? Right. How can I, be someone that doesn't keep score about, well, I've done this for you and you need to do that for me now. It's just about giving myself not just to the volleyball game, but to these young ladies who I had the best college experience ever. Like, I thought if I could go back, I can't play anymore because I'm going to have a knee replacement. But after that, if I could go do it again, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. It was awesome. So great. My coaches, San Jose State was great. I want to help provide that to these ladies who have worked so hard for this opportunity, and so it's so much of just a giving and, trying to be a good role model, a good person, a good advocate for our sport and for life as a career mother. Having 2 kids and doing all that, it's not easy. My husband travels. Like, you can do it all.
Yeah.
You really can. And that's what I want. I hope our team, our young ladies, take away from here is like, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what separates a great coach from a mediocre coach, is we all talk about being a servant leader, but it's the ones that say, this isn't quid pro quo. I don't need that giving to come back to me. It's great when it does, but if I'm going to be a servant leader, I've got to give. I've got to be generous. My time's got to go to a lot of different people, but when kids need me, I've got to be there for them. Yeah. Right. I love that. If I sat in on a practice,
okay,
because I love practices.
I love practice. It's the best part of my day.
I know, me too. If I walked out of that practice, what would I still be thinking about and talking about 2-3 days later?
Okay, first we're gonna jam in the beginning. We're gonna play music. We're gonna get ready. We're gonna go, right? We're gonna have fun. And I think you're gonna remember most just the competition, the level of competition, the battle that these young ladies are gonna go into every single day, and then high five each other, give each other a hug, and then see you later at the apartment. But that I think is something that you would walk out of our gym and go like, man, that was fast paced and people were crushing balls and making things happen and just really exciting.
That's awesome. Well, and it's good. It's exciting to come to practice every day when you know that's how it's going to be, right?
Sure. Yeah.
You're walking into a workout and you're going to do it with your friends and you're going to have a blast and you're going to be challenged. And that's great. Going back to that marker board, is that what your program's known for in terms of on the floor? Is it speed, or is it something else that you feel like this is kind of our identifier? This is what makes us special.
I would say we're disciplined and the systematic, right? We're disciplined with how we move and how our system plays out. All the pins, everything's kind of working together, right? All the cylinders are rolling together and kind of feeding off of each other. And I think the speed of play is always dependent on the personnel. Everybody always asks me, you going to run a 5-1 or a 6-2? Depends on the personnel.
That's
Can
right.
we play fast or do we have to slow down our offense? Depends on the passing, right?
Right.
You get all the grit. But just the level of competition and, the respectful trash talking is encouraged. Like, come on, get after each other. Like when you do something, you're like, you can't get me. Or, just having those good banter back and forth as far as, because that's real. Like that's what people want to do, not just this quiet volleyball. It's loud and, it's intense. I would say intense over speed, maybe kind of intense, and just a lot of fun. Like practice is my favorite. Like my assistant coach and I get here at 8:30 every morning and we sit here and wait. Like, we're like, okay, when's practice? Let's go. More, can we talk about it more? But yeah, it's a great time.
That's so much fun. All right. What's a truth about coaching at college athletics that nobody tells you before you sit in that head coaching chair?
That's a long story short. One of my best friends just got our head baseball job last year, and he's been an assistant for years. And he looks like it's hard. And I'm always going, hey, it's kind of hard, huh? Like this now is right there. But anyways, what's hard? I just love it all. It is hard, but I love it all. I think
Think about your assistants and some of the girls that have left your program that went into coaching. What did they have to learn when they got that head coaching job? Or, what advice would you give me that, hey, you got to be thinking about this. It's not just fun and games. I'd like to tell you it's not 90% volleyball and 10% everything else. What are some of the things that a young coach, a young assistant getting into this doesn't understand about being in that chair?
I would say be patient with success, right? Patient is, I think, hard for everybody. It's definitely hard for me. It's hard for this generation because it's all instant gratification. But be patient because success looks different for everybody, right?
All right.
Success to a non-starter, like what does that look like for them? And then that's the hard part, I think, managing all the different personalities, all the different roles that people play. But really making it intimate to that one person and finding their success, because it's all so different.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to learn this the hard way. I got my first job at 26 and I imagine that's where you were.
Mm-hmm.
You must have been really young too. How little I got to coach basketball and how many meetings I was in and how many, loads of laundry I was doing and cleaning locker rooms, it was kind of, I did it all. Do you find that affects coaches when they get that job for the first time, that can negatively affect their desire to do it or affects how they do it when they realize that it's not just coaching and recruiting?
I think so, because it goes back to that servant part. Like we set up our match days. Like I set up the net for game day.
Yeah.
I take pride in it.
Yeah.
I want the chairs to be a certain way, right? Our game management staff is out of this world. They're so great. But I take pride in doing those little details. right? Because it's what I'm putting out there for whether you're on this live stream or you're visiting from out of town or you're the parents that come every weekend. Like we're putting on our production, right? And taking the step back and not, again, it's not like, what am I doing this for? What am I getting for this? It's what am I giving? And that I think is, you're going to start at the bottom when you're a new coach. But don't get rid of that, that blue collar, that hard stuff, even when you've been doing it as long as I have, because that's the stuff that really it matters to me. Those little matter to me.
Yeah. You're inviting people over to your house.
Right.
Right.
No.
Oh,
The floors, this, that, we do it. My assistant coach and my staff, we do it for every home match. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Right.
Because it's our turn to show you what we've been doing,
Right. Yeah. I love that. Are you ready for a little rapid fire fun questions? Not that this hasn't been all fun.
Sure.
We're gonna Colbert Report you. We're gonna get to know you in a
Okay.
way. Do you have a go-to pregame hype song? Is there a music that you liked before?
No. So, yes, but I listen to it every day in my car. I listen to Chill Out because I think life is so crazy and I don't need to be jamming hard. I need to chill out, and here's just one little tidbit on top of that. Always the girls are like, it's 6:00, and we're doing our schedule report or, games at 7. Are you hyped? Are you ready? I'm like, no, 6:59. I'll be ready to go. If I'm hyped for 12 hours, I'm but that's fun. I gotta and then I can turn it on like a light switch. That let me chill.
I love it. Is it more instrumental or okay? All right. I love that. Okay.
Just kind of let your brain wander, woo,
Is there do you have any superstitions before games? Is there anything that you do before every game?
Well, I gotta eat because I'm a foodie. No, yes, no, I wear black.
Okay. I love black too. Yeah, I'm the same way.
Black is game day. It's here I am, you want to mess with me? Black.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah, you look at any pictures over the last couple of years of me coaching, it's always in black.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's my thing.
You're a foodie. Is there a go-to pregame or postgame meal that you love or you often go to or a restaurant?
Well, I just eat chips and salsa every minute. So, no, not really every minute, but
you could.
I could. Right? Really, it's whatever leftovers are in the fridge.
You've talked about how fun your practices are. You've talked about how much competition and the girls connecting. Is there a player celebration you love the most?
I just love it, the fist pump, and the just that I just love it. I mean, you see it everywhere in sports, not at a person, just with your team and and especially when it's the quiet person who never does any, no facial expressions ever. And then they do something, it's and they get into it. I'm like, oh yeah.
That's right.
Very into it,
We're in a zone if they're into it, I love it. Is there something you've taken from another coach? And it doesn't have to be a drill or anything. It could be anything you want. You're that you've kept all these years that you've made your own. Is there something you've stolen or borrowed?
We play a lot of wash games here. And in the volleyball world, there's a game called USA. And you have to win 3 in a row. And it's really hard. Okay.
Yeah.
But we've made it ERAU. So now you got to win 4 in a row. So we've leveled up a little bit. Okay.
Yeah. We had a drill like that. We called it Warrior. You had to score 3 times in a row. If the other team stopped you, you were off. You had to score 3 and you got to play offense. So I love that. If you could coach any other sport for one season, what would it be?
One season, any other sport? Can it be a men's sport?
Absolutely.
Okay. I would definitely do men's basketball.
Okay.
I don't know why. Just because my kids play, and I think watching men's basketball is way cool. And
You've been talking how much you love speed and athleticism, and it makes sense.
I love that these females are getting into the NBA and doing all these things. I'm like, that's cool. You get to like talk to that 7-foot guy like that,
Oh, well,
I don't know.
I love it. If you could have dinner with any past athlete or present athlete or coach, who would you choose?
Probably Kobe.
Kobe?
Yep.
Yeah, we've got a basketball theme here. I love it. You're speaking my heart.
I mean, I got 2 boys. That's all we do right now.
That's great. All right.
If I could bring them to dinner, that's all. I need to bring my kids.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't go back in time and have dinner with Kobe and not bring your boys. Absolutely. All right. Final question. I try and ask this to every volleyball coach because we have this debate in my house every day. I've got a club volleyball player, high school volleyball player, and my wife's a volleyball fanatic. That girl that wears the other color jersey, what do we call her position?
Libero.
Libero.
What do you call it in Colorado?
We call it libero too, but every coach I talk to has a different story about why they call it something else. Libero.
I don't know if it's technically Libro.
Yeah.
I'm from the West Coast. I'm from Oregon. So, we say, I don't know.
Well, it's funny because Becky Schmidt, the head coach at Hope, was on the podcast a few months ago. And I asked her this. She goes, Matt, we were in Italy playing. And I asked, this is Italy. This is where the word came from. Right. And I asked the head coach, how do you pronounce it? And he said, libero. And I go, but it was in Italy. Of course, they're going to say it a little bit differently than the way we say it here. So that's important to hear.
And I'm not really good at rolling my R's.
Yeah.
I'm practicing. I've got a Puerto Rican libero, and when the coach is from Puerto Rico, and I try, but
yeah,
I'm just a country girl.
I'm with you. And lib it rolls off the tongue and short a little bit easier.
They're the bros. Right?
They're the bros. Yeah, exactly. Coach, this has been awesome. Thanks for talking coaching with me. I'm excited to do a part 2 with you. I've been holding back talking recruiting with you. So I'm excited to have you do a part 2.
We were going there and I was like, don't say that. That's free.
Thanks for doing this. This was a blast. That was such a fun conversation with Coach Joslynn Gallop. I love how she brings that perfect mix of intensity, fun, and tough love to the game, and how she has built something truly significant at Embry-Riddle over her 20 years of leading that program, creating a culture that goes far beyond volleyball. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to my weekly newsletter at CoachMattRogers.com for coaching insights, recruiting tips, and stories to help you lead and compete with significance. And don't miss part 2 of my conversation with Coach Gallop coming this Monday on Significant Recruiting, where we'll dive deep into the recruiting process, the qualities she looks for in athletes at each position, and the types of characteristics that get her excited about a recruit. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Significant Coaching with Matt Rogers.